If we see this pullback, back to, maybe $24 an ounce of silver, back up the truck.
Yeah.
We're not going to go, I don't think we're going to go below 24. Gold, you're not going to see it much more pullback than 1950. I just ask everybody to like, share, and subscribe again. And the reason why we ask people to like all the videos is it gets the information out.
That's right.
We want to get this information out, and we want to try to get gold and silver in everybody's hand, because when the cow manure hits the fans, you want people coming to your house asking you for food because they should have listened to you. I said cow manure.
That counts.
That counts.
Today, we are privileged to once again be joined by our friend, the man on the street, Coin Shop Chris. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot that went on this past week in the gold and silver market, but also in the economy. We heard from the Fed. We even got some job numbers. We're going to cover it all. We're going to see how this did impact the price of gold and silver and how it could affect the metals going forward. But without further ado, let's all say hello to our good friend, Coin Shop Chris.
Well, thank you again, Ron, for having me back in the basement. I'm a little fired up, Ron.
You are?
Yeah, with all this news going on this week.
What do you mean? It's kind of been a quiet week, Chris. There's nothing went on this week. What are you talking about?
Quiet week. The Fed raising rates. The job report. It's a big scam. The government's lying. So where would you like to start, my friend?
And you forgot to mention the banks, and I know you're very, very upset. First they took Bed Bath and Beyond away from you. Now they took away Tuesday Morning, your second favorite store, and then the Christmas tree shop, right? All these companies are going out of business. Why don't we start with the Fed? What do you think? What do you think of the Fed decision this week? They raised by 0.25%.
Well, I don't think it's a big surprise, Ron. The 0.25, I think most people were expecting. Took silver up a little bit. Then we got a little bit pullback to this today with the metals. But that's expected too on a Friday. It seems like every Friday metals get pulled back. They get pulled back, not a bunch, but we're down a tad.
Yeah, we really tanked this morning, and yeah, earlier in the week you always say that Friday is usually a day it goes down. So this morning I sent Chris a text message and told him I was never going to talk to him again because I was cool with the metals going down a little bit, but it was pretty serious this morning. But both gold and silver, they bounced back, not completely back, but they maybe got back a third to a half of what they'd gone down this morning.
Well, and this is if anybody's looking for a big dip, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. If we get pulled back to 24, that's probably a good time to trade your unicorn flat, Dustin, and trade it for more silver and gold. We might see a pullback for gold to 1950.
So what do you mean when you talk about unicorn fart dust, Chris? Could you elaborate on that a little bit for us, please?
The dollar, sir. The greenbacks made of paper.
Right. Electronic money and things like that, correct?
Exactly. If we see this pullback, back to, maybe $24 an ounce of silver, back up the truck. Yeah. We're not going to go, I don't think we're going to go below 24. Gold, you're not going to see it much more pullback than 1950. It's right. Just, I'm sorry if some people think we're going to see $18. We're not going to see that for silver. We're not going to see $1,600 for gold anytime soon. That's just my opinion. Could it happen? Yeah, watch next week. I say it's not going to do it, and next week it's going to pull back that far. But
Hey, you know
I,
what? You know what? If a week from now we're talking, Chris, and silver's $18 an ounce, we'll still be okay, right?
well, you can blame me.
Or blame you for everything. Yeah, you're fired up tonight. I know you're good about not using curse words. So maybe every time I think you're going to use a curse, you would like to use a curse word, I'll ring the bell for you once. How's that sound?
That sounds good. I try very hard not to.
Well, I know you're probably upset because you're such a big fan of Jerome Powell, and now that the big show's over, we're probably not going to hear from Jerome for a couple, 2, 3 weeks, right?
That's a good thing. And maybe
Yeah.
we can leave in the meantime, use that box as a cat litter box.
Use this. Yeah.
Yes.
If you guys miss Jerome, I can always pull him out for you. Let's
Hey, Ron, you need to take that silver ounce of that box. That's gonna ride it away.
yeah, there's an ounce of silver, guys, in the box with Jerome just to torture him.
First Mining Gold is a development company advancing two of the largest gold projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet, located in Quebec, each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well financed, has zero debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects.
Well, let's move on to your next favorite subject of the week, the jobs report. I mean, it was such great news this morning to hear that, Joe Biden has continued with his economic miracle, and all these jobs are mysteriously being created every month in the United States. Chris, I imagine you have some thoughts on that matter. Would you mind sharing them with us?
Well, look where the jobs are coming from. They're low-paying jobs. If the numbers are right, unemployment numbers, yeah, we can say bed and bath is gone. Christmas tree shop might be gone. We don't know that for sure yet. Tuesday mornings, but people are still working at those jobs right now.
Yeah.
They might even have a severance pay after 6-8 weeks. When I worked at Sears, I had a 6-week severance pay. My number for unemployment did not get pushed down to 6 weeks. We're not going to see a massive job loss. Most of these stores go 2 months, 3 months liquidation. So we're gonna see those after the fact. We're not going to see those right off the bat.
And I think there's 2 things we need to talk about the employment numbers really torpedoed the gold price and the silver price, right? I think there's 2 things we need to talk about. I was having a conversation with Peter Grandich this morning, and he brought up a great point that I think a lot of us realize but forget, is that a lot of these jobs that they're claiming are being created are people that can't make ends meet, so they're taking a second job. There's a high percentage of Americans now that are working 2 jobs, not because they want to, but because they need to, just to make ends meet.
Exactly. And that, like I said a few weeks back ago, with some of these Costco's getting shut down. Costco's pays pretty damn good.
Yeah.
That job gets shut down. Their location gets shut down. They might have to go work at Starbucks. They might have to go work at McDonald's, and that's counted as 2 jobs. And that person could be making far less in those 2 jobs, but they count those as 2 jobs.
All right. But the other thing, I know you're fired up, but the other thing, this should really get you fired up, is, again, this quote unquote great employment number this morning. It really torpedoed gold and silver. Gold was down $50 an ounce at one point. What is incredible about it is buried further in the press release. They mentioned they adjusted the prior 2-month numbers. They adjusted the March number by about roughly 75,000 jobs, meaning there were 75,000 less jobs created than they claimed were initially created in March. And they adjusted the February number down by about 75,000 jobs. So basically what they said was those great numbers that we reported in March, and February, which on both of those days, that pushed the price of gold and silver down as well. That, oh, those numbers were wrong. We made a mistake. It almost feels like it's a shell game to me to a certain extent. And that, you know, they keep making the current month number look good and then going back and adjusting the prior month numbers a little more back to reality. But that's so far in the rearview mirror. Does that get you fired up at all, Chris?
Yeah, and how do we even know those numbers are right, Ron? How do we know that? We don't know that. I mean, you know,
No, come on, Chris. I already explained this to you.
well, yeah, you might explained it,
But
but Ron, no, you know, we can't trust these numbers no matter what they say. You know, you do YouTube, you're self-employed. That's part,
right.
that's, you know, that's one of your jobs.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, you have a night job too. Yes, and I've even called you at work and bugged you at work many times.
Yeah.
Um,
You never bugged me. You never bugged me.
You know, but what I'm saying is that you know, when you're self-employed, that you don't count.
What do you mean I don't count?
If YouTube got shut down tomorrow, God forbid, you cannot go collect unemployment.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you're self-employed, you don't count in the numbers if you close up your shop or whatever the case may be. You had to close your business. You're self-employed. There's a lot of
the numbers are a joke. I've heard people say, I think it was Matt Peipenberg, don't quote me on this, he's a great analyst in the gold and silver industry, that like basically the people on Wall Street regard the employment numbers from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics as being a joke. I don't know if it was him. I also heard somebody refer to the BLS as the Bureau of Lies and Statistics. So yeah, you know, what I earlier, when you jumped down on me, when I said I explained this to you before, what I was going to tell you is that that I know where these numbers come from. It's my twin daughter's 5th grade math class. Every month, these government people come in and have them add up some numbers and something about jobs. So that's maybe the source of their information.
well, maybe the numbers are right then. If it came from your twin daughters, maybe. I'll trust your twin daughters more than I trust the federal government.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, that's sad. That's kind of sad, but true, right? Right. Okay, the other big thing going on right now, Chris, is the debt limit, debt ceiling crisis. The last time that the U.S. government, you know, got in this same situation where they were running up against this deadline where the government won't be able to pay its bills was in 2011. The price of silver went all the way to $48. The price of gold at the time hit an all-time high. I think it was around $1,900. And we're right back in the same situation right now. I think some people could argue that the political environment is even more contentious right now. The geopolitical environment, the worldwide environment, the appetite for treasuries, the bifurcation, the de-dollarization, all that geopolitical stuff is on a much more extreme level. In 2011, we only had 15 trillion in debt. Today, we have $30 trillion in debt. And the icing on the cake, we have a banking crisis going on. All that in the US government, our politicians can't agree that they need to raise. And why are we in this position that we need to borrow so much darn money anyway? I've been talking for too long. Chris, any thoughts?
Well, we all know, Ron, they're probably going to strike a deal at the 11th hour, like they always do. And people will be in bed sleeping. And we won't never know what got passed, how much they raise it, what money goes where. It plays it all the time. Could we default this time? Yeah, there's more stuff going on. But I do believe they will strike a deal in the 11th hour like they've done before.
Right.
And the bank crisis is not over. These regional banks, I just seen, I'm from up north, Ron, up in New England. I used to be a member of Key Bank. Why is the CEO buying more stocks? First Republic now is being investigated for insider trading.
Yeah.
These regional banks, more are coming down.
Mm-hmm.
PacWest, Horizon, looks like they're having trouble. There's a few more out there. I don't want to say the name yet because I'm watching the stock very closely.
Right,
right. But I think PacWest will be gone here pretty soon, and I think Horizon's going to be in trouble here pretty soon too.
Yep. I read a report, I guess this was an old Wall Street Journal article that said that like half of the regional banks are technically kind of almost insolvent at this point. And it all has to do with the value of the investments they made with their depositors' money, basically buying commercial mortgage-backed securities and a lot of U.S. Treasury notes that when the rates were so low. It's not a good situation. And then, what does Jerome Powell do? Excuse me, he raises rates even more. I mean, so to think that there was some relief in sight for these banks, well, Jerome kind of dialed it up again one more notch. And, there's speculation that there still be maybe one more rate hike to come.
My question is, Ron, why are we bailing out these banks? If you and I go play craps at the casino and we both lose $1,000, we can't call up Grandma Yellen and Jerome Powell and say, can I get my $1,000 back? It's not going to happen.
Right. What are you
the
laughing
bell
at?
Scared me.
The bell scared you?
The bell scared me. I didn't swear.
No, I said I'd ring it when you wanted to swear.
Oh yeah. But that's the point. I mean, we build all these big banks out, but we can't provide for the American people.
Right.
It's sad. I mean,
yeah, it's a capitalism is gone. There's well, I think part of the problem with the banks revolves around derivatives. And, Warren Buffett said they're financial weapons of mass destruction. These banks all have derivative agreements between them, guaranteeing each other. And if one goes, then they all go. But it's almost like, why even have, it's like all like government backstopped. It's like basically, are they even private banks anymore? They're kind of like being run by the government, aren't they, to a certain extent?
Exactly. Bingo.
Yeah. I mean,
hit it right on the nose.
Wow.
I get in an argument with my friend, and she lives in Texas. And she, I said to her about bed and bath. Oh, I don't care about that. That don't affect me. Well, let me tell you something. It's going to affect everybody. With all these stores shutting down, where are we all going to shop? We all going to be shopping at one store.
Right.
It's going to affect the restaurants. I'm sure there's people that go out on Friday afternoon when they get paid, get off from work, or go to lunch and go stop at a restaurant and for an hour and go eat their lunch, and it's going to affect everything.
Right.
It's going to be, if you're a landlord and you got 3 or 4 people and you're billing that works for bed and bath, how are you going to get paid?
Yep.
And then those people don't have that money to go fix up the building or whatever, go out to eat or buy their food, or it's gonna snowball everything.
Come on, Chris, didn't you hear the news this morning? The economy's doing great. We created 253,000 jobs in the month of April. These people will be absorbed by all this growth and exuberance that we have in the economy, right?
Oh, that's a bunch of hogwash. Let's put it that way.
Hogwash, you came close, so I had to ring the bell.
Can I say BS, Ron? It's a bunch of BS.
All right, so tell me, I'm just curious, what do you think the price of gold and silver have done over the last month? I know you keep all kinds of statistics. Do you have any data on gold and silver?
Exactly.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I
actually do, Ron. I actually do, because you kind of asked me before the video. So this run back at you, Ron. Silver over the past month, y'all, up 3.57% or
Yeah.
89 cents. Gold down $10.80 or down 0.53%. I've said it before, Ron, silver will outperform gold. Silver is the most undervalued asset in the world.
Yeah. Yep.
It will beat out Bitcoin eventually. Yes, Bitcoin was up 4.99% this past month. Bitcoin beat everything out this month. It's not going to stay there. It will not stay there.
I keep looking for Bitcoins, like, oh, there's one, right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
The way I look at Bitcoin, Ron, is like a video game. They call it there's a blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine a pyramid with all these blocks all tied to a same rope. And you're gonna pull that rope. Don't let one block fall. You let one block fall, you lose all your money.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the update on gold and silver. I do appreciate that. And I think you had a couple deals that you thought you may have found online that you were going to share with everybody.
Actually, I found 2 deals this week. I don't know if one's really a deal, but if anybody's looking for 90% silver this week, Pinehurst Coins has 2 rolls of dimes. That's $10 face value, $259.28 as of Friday night, May 5th. That's about 26 times face. I wouldn't buy it at that price. I'm still able to get some stuff on eBay for 20 times, 21 times face. But if you don't have the time, 26 times face is not a bad deal. Bowling exchanges, Tuba Cougarans 2023 is a 765.03. Same thing at JM is 774.35, and Bowling exchanges beat out at max at 785.50. So Bowling exchanges wins the week.
Wins the week. they're they're gonna love listening to this video, right? That'll be good news for them.
And the reason why I bring weekly, I try to look for, trying to help everybody out, trying to get the best deal. I just ask people, if you're gonna get something, do a web search for the same thing. Exactly what you're looking for. Make sure you are getting that best price. Because it may be $20, $30 here and there, but that adds up, and that's more silver.
Oh yeah.
Or gold.
Yeah. And we appreciate everybody right now who's joining us, right? I mean, Chris and I are together, but there's a viewer involved, and that's you, right? The viewer. We appreciate you joining us. You are the most important part of Ron's Basement. I also want to thank Chris. He's a great help on the channel and generous with his time to help making these videos. I want to mention also that he's not trying to sell you anything. If you haven't noticed already, he's not affiliated or sponsored by any of the companies he mentioned. So the information you get from Chris is, what's the word? Pure. And he really does just want to help people out. So on behalf of everybody watching, Chris, I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And we should have done this before, but I just asked everybody to like, share, and subscribe again. And the reason why we ask people to like all the videos is it gets the information out.
That's right.
We want to get this information out, and we want to try to get gold and silver in everybody's hand, because when the cow manure hits the fans, you want people coming to your house asking you for food because they should have listened to you. I said cow manure.
That counts.
That counts. But that's the point. I mean, this is why we ask people to like these videos. It's just, it really spreads the algorithm out there. The more people we can wake up, the less chances people come knocking at your door and asking for a handout. Well, I got a plan for my relatives that don't like to listen. I'm gonna leave a case of beans. When that case of beans is gone, Ron, I'm done helping people. It might be harsh, but you can only go so long trying to warn people, get silver and gold as protection.
Yeah, well, you could maybe leave a bag of potatoes out for them, right?
They might get lucky.
Do you know what you call a reluctant potato?
No, sir.
You don't?
No.
A hesitator.
Oh my God.
I think we just lost 10 subscribers, Chris.
I think so.
Now, no, but seriously, guys, it's important you're here. You know, and I agree with Chris 100%. We are all, you know, the people that are watching this video right now, Chris, are like us, right? They're the enthusiasts. They are precious metals, silver, gold, platinum, palladium, whatever it may be, but they are the enthusiasts. And you know, I say this over and over, but I think it's important for everybody to remember, like, we are like a very, very small part of the overall population. I think in the United States, the current number is like, we're like 1 in 416 people, right, that are passionate about precious metals. So it's important we stick together, right? I mean, because we don't, you know, just in the general public, typically have a lot of other people that are aware of a lot of the things that we're aware of. So we're always, you know, it's always a great pleasure for me to obviously get to make a video with Chris, but to also get to share it with the viewers.
Exactly. And your viewers are wonderful, Ron. I mean, I've communicated with a bunch of them already. You know, I try to answer everybody's questions in the comments. If you got a question, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my very best to get back to every single one of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris has helped a lot of people, including me. So, all right, Chris, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. And we will talk next week, my friend.